Welcome back to a brand new episode of TVGP's Game Club. This month we are playing Clickolding. I'm your host, Boston, playing this on the personal computer, joined as always by Moonpeer,
I also PC.
and also very sick, and
Yes,
also
also sick.
joined by Musum.
Also PC.
Let's get to talk about some of the details behind the game here real quick. Was released July 16th, 2024, published by Outer Sloth, which is the incredible name of the publishing arm of Inner Sloth, if you haven't heard that before, the Among Us developers. Developed by Strange Scaffold, released on the personal computer as of so far at the time of recording. This is usually the point where we try to describe what this game is, and I am not sure. The developers themselves called it a dark, incremental narrative game about thumbing a tally counter to satisfy the distressing masked man sitting in the corner of your hotel room. So, yeah.
Yep.
Sure. we'll take that, I guess. Time travel here. Metacritic is 70. Doesn't have a rating on OpenCritic. It does not have enough outlets that have reviewed it at time of recording. Spoiler alert: it's not too long after this game came out. Don't tell anyone. Appears for the release date: Flock, Magical Delicacy, game we just played last month, Dungeons of Hinterberg, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition, Shim, and Arranger, a role puzzling adventure. Let's ask the question we ask every month: was this game top of the pile, middle of the pack, or overlooked?
Overlooked.
I think this was in the middle of the pile, but that's also because I follow Zalavia Nelson Jr. on social media, and that man knows how to promo a game.
For sure.
He's the head of Strange Scaffolding, for those who don't know.
I'm actually going to go with top of the pile here. I think largely because everybody that I follow on social media, including Zalavir as well, was all like, "Yo, bro, what did I just spend 45 minutes playing? You should you need to go play this. Whatever it is. Also, the name is wild.
Yes, and the font. I don't want to.
Yeah, go look at the logo.
First
If
three
you haven't
letters.
seen it. It's a real. It's a very good chef's kiss of. Yes, we did name it that, and yes, we did do it on purpose.
Yes.
It's so good. Before we get into the game itself, let's talk about our next game here real quick, just in case you tap out based on what we're going to talk about in the next 30 seconds. Paranormasight, the 7 Mysteries of Hanjo. We're going to play next month for Spooky Month. That came out on PC, iOS, and Android. So go check that out along with us. 2 quick notes here before we get into the game itself. 1, spoiler alert. This game's only 45 minutes, $3. You want to go check it out after the next warning I have here in a second, you should just go do that and then come back. Number 2, content warning for suicide. So we're going to touch on some of that here at the end, so fair warning. All right. Clickolding. Where do we begin? At 0 and 1 and 2, I guess.
Yep. I think we go incrementally is how we should approach this game. Don't laugh.
Mo just had to mute himself to cough and potentially not hurt himself.
So this is what my room sounded like this morning. Yay, mechanical keyboards.
That's right. I didn't realize for a while until I actually read the pop-up that came up in the lower left-hand corner that I could hold the button. That made the game
that's cheating.
Significantly easier, more than halfway through.
Every single one of those clicks should be earned.
That's right.
I started holding the button and got bored, and then decided I could tap a lot faster.
Yeah. I was surprised at how much I didn't enjoy holding the button and how much more fun I had clicking it.
Clicking,
Just something I definitely wasn't expecting.
I did the two fingers on the spacebar trick,
Oh,
one on
tap
each
tap tap tap
end,
tap
where
tap
I
tap
was
tap tap.
letting the tap and then the reverb bring it down on the other side.
Yeah. Ooh,
Hmm.
super. You can be on GDQ here pretty quick with Clickolding.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Call the
I
Clickolding helpline. I'm right there to tell you two fingers on the spacebar.
that's right.
Phrasing.
so I'll just maybe continue this by saying I spent $3 on this, and I wish I spent $1.
Oh no.
Um, I this was not. I appreciate like it's just a weird, creepy, tongue-in-cheek thing where you're clicking on a clicker while this guy stares at you and tells you he's too hot, so you have to go turn on the air conditioner and
Mm.
dig out a key to open the thing and whatnot. But I just didn't. I wanted it to be weirder than it was. I didn't
Mm.
necessarily need like more perverse, but like if you hung around till after the credits and kept clicking, they have that extra bit to it. And to me, this
Mhm.
should have been like a uh oh, I'm not going to remember the name of the game. What was the game that starts out where you're like a toad or a frog or
Oh,
something
frog
hopping up?
fractions.
Yes,
Yeah,
frog
you wanted
fraction.
to get real weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of a one trick, but like the joke to me doesn't go too beyond like the opening 5 seconds. Like
Mm.
that's most of the joke, and then they do some extra stuff. And I mean, I don't. Maybe you guys feel like there's a little more depth to it, or maybe it
So,
tickled your funny bone, right? But it was not for me.
so I maybe it's a tell of the headspace that I am in at the moment. I think the ending, the void section,
Mm.
while interesting, I think that took away from the game
Yeah.
because that does the super hot trick of inspecting the relationship between you as a gamer playing the video game and the game talking to you.
Right.
It's the Assassin's Creed 2 Brotherhood ending where
Mm.
it's like, I'm not talking to Altair, I'm talking to you,
That's right.
holding the controller. I obviously it's not confirmed. You can weave your own theories about this. For me, this game talks to me about neurodivergency.
Mm.
You, the clicker, are neuroatypical. The person watching you is neurodivergent. There are a lot of little things that get said here and there that are like kind of make me think this, but it feels like you have been giving a physical representation, the clicker, of something that a a neurodivergent person has to deal with without it actually being a physical representation.
Mm.
There's a line that the watcher says, and they say, you look at people like me, and if- it makes you feel special. It makes you feel right. It
Mm.
gives you pleasure. It makes your life better looking at people like me. And for me, as someone who deals with intrusive thoughts on a minute by minute basis, sometimes it's like I can understand that side of it, where it's like you can look at someone who has special needs, you can look at someone who is neurodivergent, you can look at anybody who's not you, and it can make you feel better about yourself because you are not that person.
Mm.
I feel like the clicker in this, the both you as the person clicking and the actual device itself, it's a physical representation of something that you don't have to deal with normally.
Mm.
It's not something that you ever have to sit there and like you don't have to sit there and click this thing just to get through the day. Whereas like for me, I have to sit there and beat down intrusive thoughts constantly. It's like, nope, get that out the way. Nope, get that out the way. Nope, get that out the way. And that is my quote unquote clicking,
Mm.
is taking these things that are intrusive in my everyday life and dealing with them, pushing them to the side, ignoring them, being upset by them, whatever the case may be. That's how I viewed the main story of this game, is like, I wonder if anybody else is going to take that away. this person is different from you.
Mm-hmm.
How they are different. They talk a lot about the clicks and how it helps, and how when it gets up to a special number, they make a big deal about it. Which was your special number, by the way?
999, I think, was the first one. I don't remember what the. I feel like there was another one way deeper in, and I don't remember what that one was.
I mean, he
Because
freaked
I
out
had
over 6999, but I assume he did that for everyone.
Right.
yes, and I've seen different numbers on, like, I've seen a couple of video people playing this on stream and whatever, and it seems to be a different number. Not every time, but a couple of different options.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, for me, that whole process of it is like, yo, maybe now this means nothing to you. This monotone process of just clicking the button means nothing to the person doing the clicking. They're doing it to reach the goal of the money they need.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, it's like, okay, this is, as someone on the other side of it, where they have to deal with a clicker and then they have to deal with this thing that's constantly interrupting. It's like, I'm curious if that's the, obviously I don't know, but I'm curious if that's the angle that you could take it from, of regular person, neuroatypical, neurodivergent, and now this is how the experience are crossing over kind of thing.
What's interesting is the way that I took the game, because I found this game also surprisingly impactful from a story perspective, because I think going into it, I thought it was going to be the like LOL, wink sort of thing, and the game starts off for a little bit sort of playing that angle. I actually think that it's one of the things I wrote down here in my notes is I actually think it's a strength of the game that it doesn't have voice acting. So I think the voice acting for this game would be a really challenging performance, because you have to try to communicate this level of vulnerability from the watcher that doesn't seem to be there on the surface, because the way that I took the game was an allegory for having some sort of physical disability, because he spends a lot of time talking about, I need you to do this thing because I can't do it anymore. This used to be the thing, my thing. It drove me. It like gave me some sort of peace. I got a wife and kids. Like, this was my kind of escape, and I can't do it anymore for various reasons, even though I had this dream.
Those are the hands too.
Yeah. Like, I had this dream and I was driven to this thing, and it has helped and destroyed things. And I was surprised at how much I found it affecting coming out of it, because I thought, based on, title in the first couple of minutes, it was gonna be like, okay, yeah, I get it, I'm here to watch, you're here to do. I pick it up, I get it. But I found that from a story perspective, even though it was fairly thin, I think the writing was incredibly strong. I think it takes some serious writing chops to write as cutting as a lot of the text in this game can be once you really get into it. There isn't a lot of writing in this game overall, but I think that benefits the writing quite a bit. I think from a gameplay perspective, I think the longer the game went on, the more that I was interested in the story and the character of the Watcher, the kind of less patience I had for go stand in the bathroom, go turn this thing down, turn this up, turn on TV off, turn it on, like that. It's a
that.
Go ahead.
Part of that for me was the neurodivergent thought process, where it's like sometimes things have to be whatever your flavor of OCD may be, sometimes things have to be in a particular place or a particular way, or they're
Sure.
just not as effective unless you're doing it in a particular way.
Right, and I
Like
think... Oh, go ahead.
making a cup of tea is a prime example of that. Like everyone has
Mhm.
their preferred way of doing it, and that's a flavor thing.
Mhm.
But you literally cannot make me drink a cup of tea unless it's made in the way I like it to be made. I just
Right.
won't touch it.
Yeah, and I get what the game was going for there. Like, to me, I read it as the kind of sex allegory here of I need it to be a perfect way to be satisfied. Let's just say it that way and keep this PG. But I think with how many clicks you have to do to get to the ending of 10,000 clicks, I I don't I think that's a good number. I don't think that's bad, but when you get down to it, I think having to do all that stuff back and forth kind of grated a little bit. I do agree about the void after the game. I do like. I kind of like and don't like that you find out that the dream the Watcher had is true, because he spends some time saying, I had to get the mask perfect. Like, it had to. I spent so much time making this thing.
14 years getting the mask as close to perfect as he could.
Right, and I'm like, that's okay, sure, but I kind of like the idea that you do see the void is real and that the person in the void looks like that, and that's why the Watcher was so driven to make this mask and kind of close the loop on that experience they had. But I agree. I probably would have been okay, if not maybe a little bit better, if that wasn't there. Because the idea too that it's also used to track how many clicks you've done lifetime is interesting, but that kind of doesn't, for me, that doesn't seem to be the point of the game. So I'm left a little torn about that.
Yeah, and
I'm glad
We
you
should-
guys connected with it. I did not obviously connect at all really with
Right.
it. Like, I don't hate.
I mean,
I just really
it's the
wanted to
nature
say
of-
I wanted to pay $1 for it to be a jerk, but but also, like, I don't. It's also fascinating to me hearing, like, Moon, you talk about kind of the. It almost comes off as like an OCD tendency, which I don't think I'm quite OCD, but I fidget all the time. Like, I have this stress ball that I use every single podcast because multiple times someone I'm podcasting with will be like, "Dude, what's that
and
tap?"
someone will be like, what's that noise? What's that noise?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just me tapping the table.
Tap, 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 tap,
Yes.
tap. Yeah.
And I am always the person vibrating my leg
Yeah.
with the table for other people. Like,
But I
But-
think
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about indie games, though, is that you can get a team together, a very small team for this game, and you can make an experience that feels wholly yours and wholly unique, and hopefully it clicks with somebody. Like, you see this a lot of times with...
I see what you did there.
Oh, God. Sorry, my bad.
So,
Bye!
Oh no!
But,
sorry,
like...
didn't mean that. You were making a very profound point.
But I think it's similar to like making indie music or indie film or something, where it's like I have this thing that I need to get this artistic drive to get this thing out into the world, and hopefully it lands with people. And if it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine. But there's the I love seeing with the lower boundaries to be able to make games. It's so cool to see something like this where it's like it's less than an hour, it's $3. Hopefully it clicks with you. If not, you at least played one of the most unique video games you've ever played. It's not like, oh, here's another one of these clicking games, huh? Like, this is definitely a wholly unique game.
And it's
Can't argue
it's
with
also-
that.
It's also the nature of art.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go to museums a lot, because there is not a lot of art that speaks to me. Maybe I just haven't been taken in by the right people, but I was never. I did school trips, but I've never had like a real pro like take me and give me the the 100%. This is the museum speech kind of thing.
Right.
Like, I don't care about your watercolors. I don't care about your landscapes. I couldn't care less about the Mona Lisa. Yes, they were talented painters, but all of that is art, but that is not art that speaks to me. The art that speaks to me is the giant sculpture that's made of one giant slab of marble that some dude turned into a photorealistic human being. It's like, what? Like, that is art to me. History is art to me. Seeing early tools being invented, created, and then used, that is art to me. Like, that's the nature of video games as art, is like, yeah, okay. It did. I'm not going to say it. It didn't align with your sensibilities quite right, and that's fine. On
You're
the
trying
flip
to
side, it was $3, not
Were you trying to
40.
avoid the word click?
Yes, I was. I was 100% trying to
I've
avoid the word click.
never said this word more than this episode. Yeah, yeah. It's one of those things that even if it didn't connect with me, then I'd be happy playing it because it's just such a cool, unique, singular thing. But I am happy that it connected with me. I'm really trying hard to not say the word click anymore because it's in my brain. But I'm super happy that that we, and it's part of the reason why I like this show. We haven't talked about it for a while, but we're trying these different things. We're trying these things that either we wouldn't have the time to play, and we're kind of not forcing ourselves, but kind of encouraging ourselves to go through a game that we've been interested in, but haven't had the time or wherewithal to check it out. But there's also these cool games where it's just like, all right, yeah, let's play something weird. Let's play something kind of unique. And sometimes it turns out well and sometimes it doesn't. But at least we're trying some cool stuff in this show. And hopefully all of you at home are trying it as well. Musim, final thoughts here for Clickolding, if you have any additional thoughts.
It is only $3, and it is pretty short, and you won't ever play anything else like it. That said, I didn't really care for it much. I don't regret playing it, and it's, I think, been interesting to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and I've enjoyed pointing out when you guys say the word click. So that's kind of all I got. I'm glad they, whatever negativity I may feel towards the game, I am glad they did it, and I hope they continue making weird stuff.
Oh, they have made so many games, and they're all very weird in very cool ways.
An airport for aliens run by dogs, space organ warlord trading simulator.
Yeah, I'm Your Beast is coming out, just came out.
Is the new one.
Yeah. Moon, what are your final thoughts here on Clickolding?
I liked it a lot. I think the funny thing is, like me, like you, I think I could have done without the void sequence. I would have been perfectly happy just hitting the escape key or leaving the hotel room, where after the whole sequence. I think the impact that the ending has is going to vary from person to person. And honestly, I don't think we should talk about that specific aspect of the ending, because I think that's something for you to experience yourself.
I do have to say, early on in the game where the Watcher reaches behind and grabs something from behind the chair, I was like, oh no. Oh, okay. This got for real. Okay. Wow.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. And that to me pointed even more. I mean, it's also, what's the whole thing? You do research and you find answers that specifically suit your own hypothesis. That to me is 100% pointing towards neurodivergence, and the difficulties therein. I liked it. It's $3. It's an hour of your time, if that. I mean, Boston was 64 minutes, Musin was 58 minutes, I was 55 minutes. If that gives you an idea of how long this took all three of us to play.
Yep.
I know, because I was the last one to play it, so I got everybody's times.
Yeah, most of my time was spent staring in the void and being like, "Ooh, pretty."
I didn't even
Mhm.
realize I took that long. I thought it took shorter.
Yeah,
Oh well.
Yep.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
agree.
Give it a shot.
I mean that, like Moon said, $3, 45 minutes. You should try it. We don't always get kind of unique games like this, so I would genuinely try it. And like we said, if you can't click or tap for the entirety of the time, you just hold the button down, and the game will auto click for you. So it's even if you have some sort of physical restrictions on that, you can still play it too. So. All right, reminder here that our next game is Paranormasight: The Seven Mysteries of Hanjo. Came out on PC, iOS, and Android. Talking about that next month. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.